as we enter the lower bracket finals. An all-European affair, looking for a slot in the grand final of the WardiTV Summer Championship. We're going to start off with the red Protoss player, top right-hand side, MaxPax. MaxPax wins this, will be guaranteed our first WardiTV Championship winner, that is a Protoss, since Zest did it in 2021. It's been 4 years. His opponent in the bottom left-hand corner, the blue Terran player, Team Liquid's Clem. What's up, Niven? How you doing? Thank you so much for the 78-month resub. Big one. Thank you so very much. Coming up to 7 freaking years of subscribing. Crazy. Thank you so much. As our CC starts, barracks on the way, refineries in production. We get this underway for game 1 of the best of 5. I feel like Clem's got to come into this with a little bit of confidence. Not saying that you should ever be confident against MaxPax overall, but like, he's had a good running record against MaxPax as of late. Especially in the longer series, MaxPax has not quite been able to figure out Clem like Classic has been able to, for example. So, be interesting to see what flies now between the two here. As two Titans of Europe clash. It's not even a Monday, believe it or not. It's when we usually get to see these players playing each other. Yeah, like I say, Classic winning in that grand final. PvP against MaxPax would probably be pretty darn fun. I'm not gonna lie, I'm cheering for the Classic Clem rematch. I don't know if Clem's just gonna keep on playing mech, but honestly, the games are great any which way you look at it, so that was just kind of fantastic through and through. Nexus on the side, but we'll continue to build. Again, Adept. Gate building at the moment. Nexus on the way. Reaper in the factory coming online as well. A little bit of everything coming through for now. Little Corona boost as the Stalker comes along. Get that underway. The Adept going to be there pushing the Reaper back. Stalker just going to be there, push the Reaper down a little bit there for a moment or two. A little bit of fun aggression, then the Hellion Reaper will be able to force the Adept away. We lose one SCV, the Reaper actually out there to catch the Adept, and some back and forth micro avoidance, some shots will be good enough. Adept falls into the Twilight Council tech here from MaxPax is unsurprising. Stalker and the Walk Gate still building through, just having ourselves a couple of Reapers and the Hellion gathering out the front of the natural. These will hop through and actually attack a Stalker for a little bit. They're going to continue to threaten the main. I was going to say, do we really think we can kill a Stalker? We seem to think so. The Hellions are going to show up. One more Reaper going down. The Hellions will dive in. Stalker dies. And now the Hellions will have a shot at some probes. Obviously, still Hellion count going down will make this dangerous. We should still be able to get at least one more worker here, I'd imagine. Reaper's going to follow up as well, so they're going to finish off some of the low HP workers, help those Hellions with their duties. It's going to turn into 7 workers killed. My goodness, what a dive from Clem. 7 workers, got the Stalker to begin with as well. For 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions, we get an Adept, a Stalker, and 7 probes. That's a ridiculous attack. That's an absolutely ridiculous attack as these Stalkers come through looking for the medevac and will intercept the mine drop at least, which is a much needed moment of respite for MaxPax because he could not deal with having to pull probes after that much damage is taken super early. That is going to be a huge start from Clem in this opening game. And just a bit of harassment, so offbeat from the Clem we've been seeing play against Classic. Completely different way of things playing out. And Clem, gotta be happy with the first few moments here against MaxPax. Game 1 looking bright at the moment. Not done yet and not anywhere close to it. It's a good start. One battery stops all of that, and that's the beauty of StarCraft because, you know, MaxPax doesn't feel like he can just blindly place a battery in his main base against Clem because, believe it or not, despite Protoss being utterly OP, according to the community, you can't just waste resources because you will just die and fall behind in the game and lose. So, yeah, battery in the main base that early on is a pretty huge investment, realistically. That's why Clem knows he can probably make this attack happen. Like, yeah, battery stops it. If this doesn't happen and you build a battery, then, yeah, waste of money. Of course, series going down. A couple of Marines will be dropping. It's going to be having the Marines going to be there to poke that Prism as well. Shove that back. The Banshee is going to loop around the top side. So we get a few SCVs. MaxPax drawing himself back into it a little bit as he gets some damage done. Banshee cloaks, and we are going to be able to hit the probes away from the battery. That one ran back into reach for a moment or two. And then we are going to see the Banshee continuing through to the main base. The robe was on that low ground, so you know the Observer might pop there. As we'll go for 1, 2 workers at least. The Observer playing catch-up. Going to get 4 probes, which is really not too bad. Plus the Banshee surviving out to the top side. Now some Stalkers unload into the main base. They're going to try and blink forward as well. Tank in position to fire. Tank and a couple Marines in position to push it back. Nicely done as well. Charge still producing. Getting that underway. Banshee, Tank, and Marines all coming up for the moment. Banshee going to be there as you get a little scan out, and we just have this other Banshee still kind of stuck between bases. Clem's defense looking reasonable. You can see the Stalkers thinking about maybe coming in from this side. The tank is well placed, I think, to hold the natural, though. It's in a good defensive position. There's a lot of tanks in the main base as Clem is going to add on factories. We're going to mech it versus MaxPax as well. This is not something he did when he played against MaxPax the other day. He was just playing more aggressively and more biocentric, but yeah, he is really making it happen mech style today. I kind of low-key love it. The Observer there sees the Banshee move around a little bit. Nexus drops down onto the front. That's going to be our 4th base building through. 2 more factories being added on as well, so we get that underway. The Orbital Command will come floating forward to drop onto the 3rd base as well. So just going to take that into position and just take a moment or two from here. And the extra Cyclones coming up. Interesting to see MaxPax maybe about to attack in is like I say, going to be a little scary when we've been considering the fact that this has been, you know, a very mech-heavy army, and it's a lot of tanks. I'm not sure if MaxPax is ready for that. Tanks want to focus the right-hand side. The Zealots from the left are nice. A few Marines, again, not going to be a big factor in the long term of this game, but short term, right now, defensively, it's good damage output, and they absorb some hits. And it helps you to kind of transition through to the more techier units that the mech army is going to need over time. That's a hold for now. Only 4 SCVs lost there. The Archon went down. The Prism will try for the main base instead. And that split of kind of trying to deal damage could be just what you need as MaxPax to maybe make an opening. The Stalker's at the front. The Prism recalls instantly. The Banshee's going to get onto the map as the units pull back here. Again, a few SCVs go down, but nothing too major. The Refinery on the 3rd is in trouble in the minimap. But these Banshees are going to show up. They're going to find probes arriving at the fresh new 4th base. No protection here. And into the natural as well. Also no protection here, and that's a ton of workers going down. Clem's Banshees finding gold in the heart of MaxPax's economy right now. There's going to be an Observer showing up. Some Stalkers arrive, but then over to the 3rd base we go. Feedback. Banshees can sit in between the bases, and I believe can live here for the moment. One more feedback, but it will take a little while to truly clean those up. So for now, at least, those Banshees can sit there and just be something to draw the attention of MaxPax away as Clem is looking good for the moment still in this game 1. It started well with the harassment. It's continuing well right now in this continued affair. A little bit of a lag spike there, I believe. Hopefully no one lagging out too hard. Hopefully nothing too impactful for us at the moment. Oh, Marine tank. We'll step forward a little bit. Clem's going to find this army of MaxPax right there. Once again, Clem's stepping forward when he maybe needs to be sieged up. First storm coming down. Clem does step away from it. No major damage taken. More Cyclones, the Hellions, the Medivacs all coming through as well here. The Prism will continue over and loading a couple of those Zealots down. And they're going to swipe into this mineral line. A couple of SCVs will drop. A couple of factories coming through. Cyclone getting settled. And the factories build. Cyclone's going to be there. Zealot taking a few more shots of damage. stream dead? Why does my Twitch keep dying lately? Okay, well, let me just cast this out because we're still live on YouTube again. As just see the fight starting out. We do see the couple of storms coming down already. The Immortals getting chased out over the other direction. And we are going to be seeing both those Immortals continuing to just push on through. Going to recall just a portion of the army. But what about everything else? Like, yes, that's your Immortal and High Temple, but this Archon gets abandoned behind as well. Not exactly ideal. And yeah, guys, welcome back if you're on Twitch. Sorry, I don't know why, but lately my Twitch just stops streaming for a moment. I just have to turn it off and on. It's kind of weird, I'm going to be honest, as we do see the units continue to chase on through. The couple of Stalkers going down, another Storm dropping into place. Continue to push straight into this now. And we do get ourselves onto that right side base. This 5th is going to go down, so that is going to be a pickoff right now. These Zealots will make their way to the bottom. Nice counterattack, but we've got to save yourself on the other side of the map, MaxPax, and the tank siege are going to make that difficult. The Immortal barriers are popped. Clemson, some Hellions back, but it's a lot of Zealots, and that is genuinely going to cause issues, and that might be your way to still see success in this position, right? SCV's pulling back. Clem having to evacuate that 3rd, 4th base. Finish for him, trying to push his way on location over here. Like I say, MaxPax doing a lot of good. Can MaxPax get in? Honestly, if MaxPax had those Zealots over here to help fight, I wonder if he could have maybe taken the fight, man. Archon just melts. The other Archon is already low. The Zealots are just disappearing, and the Immortals are not exactly doing a great job of living up to their name. As the Hellions did a fantastic job against the Zealots that did show up, but it is going to be a cleanup from MaxPax. He will push this back and push this away for the moment. +3 attack. 2 more Immortals continue to build up for the moment. Just going to be seeing the, again, Cyclone Hellions, the +1 vehicle plane, all coming in as well. Belt charges. SCV in trouble. A couple of Cyclones coming through for the moment as we just have a little bit of a fight coming in. Those couple of Zealots going down again. The Zealots have been the savior of MaxPax. Those run-bys have been devastating to Clem's economy a couple times over, and I mean, Clem is going to stabilize. Don't get me wrong, his economy's still fine now, but it's been those hits and those pullbacks that have cost him heavily for the most part. Comes army up to the top. The Zealots are going to charge through. The Zealots will go down. Just going to see the couple of Hellbats firing up as well. Medevac taking a little bit more damage, and this army to the top left is going to go after the Nexus. This will go down as well. Those few probes going to be in trouble. I mean, this is nice. Going to knock MaxPax down to a 4-base Protoss player. Clem's base is going to be in trouble in a moment, though, because MaxPax is just going to come straight across the map. Can Clem pull back in time to defend this? Most of his army is that army in the top left, so he's not in position at all. Obviously, MaxPax loses a 5th, but Clem may lose a 4th. He drops a Hellbat into the mineral line over here. MaxPax starts to pull back. He's afraid of Clem's army arriving. He's afraid of what that might mean for him. The Cyclone's getting some lock-ons, baiting through some of the Immortal shields. There's a lot of energy on those High Templar. Storm's available, drop some feedbacks as well already. The Hellbat's trying to come around from the left side. Cyclone lock-ons remain, and you do see the tech units starting to get very low. Those Immortals especially are getting extremely low, and the Cyclone's still locked onto them, doing mega damage. The Archon going down, 3 Immortals left. A new Archon shows up from the left-hand side as MaxPax gets the reinforcements here. But will that be enough? The Cyclone lock-on good for 1 more Immortal. There's 1 High Templar remaining, and that is not locked onto. It's the Stalker that's locked onto. Loses the Observer as well. Clem pushes this away. Staying strong on 4 bases right now as he tries to make his way across the map. Hellion Cyclone looking for the attack into this base of MaxPax. There's a Storm available and it hits dead center on the Cyclones. That's what you like to see, as that is going to be a great grab right there. Now got the Zealot going down, the other few Stalkers coming across also here currently. It's going to be seeing 1 more Storm dropping straight into place. +3 attack is going to come up on the Forge. Just going to be seeing the Zealots building. A Prism on the way. Hellion's going for some workers. Not fun for MaxPax. His economy's not great right now. Going down to sub 60 probes. Again, that's him maybe having to stop and rebuild a little bit. Very even look at the workers killed in this game. 63 probes to 52 SCVs killed throughout. It's been multiple times over. The aggression on both sides that has thrown this game into the mayhem that we've seen. A couple of those Zealots getting busy. As the Hellion Cyclone pulls back around, Cyclones continue to come up. More Cyclones on the way. The Hellions still producing through. Take a couple of moments. Stalker's going to get on top of the Order Command. SCV is going to try and pull in. Orbital will go down again. The Cyclones are going to lock onto a couple of the High Templar. So they drop one Storm off. There's still a good amount of High Templar here. Again, Clem losing an Orbital is a big deal. His main base is this base on this left-hand side here now, so that's just relocated. So he's actually not got a lot of actual command centers standing. Again, just a couple of Zealots going to pull Clem's attention away. Get a few SCVs. Clem trying to chase this army down. Not the first time we've seen him chasing the MaxPax army out to the other side. The Ghosts, the High Templars are completely drained of energy here. And that will be the Immortals, the left in the background. Just as Clem pulls away with those units defending on the right, more Zealots show up. But all the Immortals went down. Again, the tech units of MaxPax struggling to stay alive in this series. In this game, opening game so far, has been utterly hectic. As the medevac goes back up the left-hand side, a couple of Hellbats still joined together. Tank Cyclone will move over as well. The Stalker stepping through, the High Templars coming across. Medevac in the top is going to again drop a couple of Hellbats by as MaxPax's army now is High Templar, Stalker, Zealot, so a lot more kind of fluid mobileness, fluid mobility than kind of the techier units that he had before. And to be fair, like I said, those tech units were not exactly surviving through the fight, so I don't mind this little bit of a different approach. Again, Clem is losing SCVs hard as he loses out on the right-hand side again. Has a consistent position of a problem position for him as the Cyclones try and shove through. Not sure we've got enough to just run into the Stalkers though, and I actually think MaxPax is drawing himself back into this well enough. Clem's army does not remain strong enough. He does not think he can stay in the game with those SCVs dropping, and MaxPax turns this game around from... Anyways, all good. Game number 2 of this lower bracket final. Fighting for a spot into the top 2 of the tournament. Loser leaves with $500. Again, you win this, you get plus $250 and a chance to then more or less double your money up into the finals as well. MaxPax is going to be up one game in this series. Magnath, a big map. Not sure if Clem wants to move away from mech on a map like this with how he's been playing today. Take a few moments to get set up. Couple of refineries, the barracks coming through. Gateway coming about as we settle ourselves into this second game of our series. Follow a probe across the map to start us off. Away we wander. For the moment. I always wonder why meching Terrans don't leave 4 Zealots back at home to deal to help with Zealots. I think it's definitely a possibility, right? I think it's a little weird because it's almost strange because it feels like if you leave 4 Hellbats and like 2 or 3 Zealots show up, great. But then you're almost inviting him to send even more Zealots, and then your Hellbats get wiped, and then you have even more Zealots to deal with. I don't know. I actually, it's a good question. Maybe would it be that effective, especially in that game where it's like it's one specific base that keeps getting struck by the Zealots on repeat. He just did not manage to kind of leave anything over there for a few moments. Hope he gets a few pokes. Few shots already. You don't know why Zealots are nearly indestructible? Because melee units need to be something, otherwise they just suck. Melee units either need to be super fast, aka Zerglings, and super cheap and expendable, and a lot of them, or very powerful and strong, and they don't just insta-die, because otherwise them being melee is kind of nerfing themselves. You know? I mean, Zealots that don't last very long are completely useless units, right? And there's this very fine line where you say they feel unkillable right now, but the reality is against a proper army, Zealots melt as well, you know? It's just Zealots against the right number of units feel unkillable, which is probably how it should be. But, you know, you've got the right amount. It means the melee units actually genuinely have a shot at doing something. A Liberator is not an option. Just very expensive. In this last game, Clem, maybe he had moments. I mean, to be fair, like, Clem never got off of 4 bases, and switching into starports, libs, becomes very expensive at that kind of point in the game already, so yeah, I'd say that's one of the scenarios where building Liberators is just, like I say, a bit of an expenses. The Hellion drop is going to be about as figured out as it can be. The proxy starport actually did build a tech lab, by the way, as the Hellions are going to drop in anyway, and 2 Stalkers and a Sentry will try and make the defense. I actually think that Force Field is going to hurt the Stalkers more than it hurts the Hellions, as the Hellions going to load up back into the medevac. 6 probes go down, so Clem is still finding some value here. And we'll go for a couple more. We'll have to lift up again. Saves the 3 Hellions. 3 is the magic number. That is the one-shot range for a Hellion against a probe. You've got 3 of them shooting at once. 6 is not bad when you still have the medevac and the Hellions available to harass again. Not bad at all. What is crazy is that Clem is building Cloak Banshees off that starport now. That part of this is actually a little bit ridiculous. Robot facility on the way. Should be able to get an observer out in time, but it is essentially forcing the observer. The Stalkers find it, so never mind. No cloaking, just the single Banshees. The medevac's going to try and boost for the natural, perhaps. 2 Stalkers there, trying to keep away. Knows this medevac's HP is important to keep somewhat decent. Going to threaten the medevac back toward the main, but the Hellions will try and dart the natural, but there are units in position there. I'm now going to have to make it a getaway. He gets past into the natural. The Sentry misses its force field. Probes are up for grabs. It's barbecue season. 6 workers going down. And that's going to double up the damage done in this game. Mistake by MaxPax. Misses his force field. Did not have the units walling. And that is going to be Clem finding just a little tad extra than he was maybe meant to. Because, like I say, I think MaxPax has set himself up correctly to deal with this. Fortunately, it goes oh so wrong in the end. Tanks gathering. Again, factory's still coming through. The refinery's coming up. Reaper will go down. Little grenade going to bop a Stalker over to the side.
Game paused.
I'm going to PP. I was race together as a GG for a moment, but we'll take a quick little pause here. Hopefully nothing serious and we can get back on track ASAP. What's up, Captain Bad Truck? Sorry, Bad Rock. For some reason I thought it said Bad Truck. Captain Bad Rock, how you doing? Thank you so much for the Prime sub as we ready up and go back into the action. Thanks so much for the Prime, as we are going to be seeing the starport flying back into the main base. We'll get home safely. Tank in a good position, gets a first good volley off onto the Stalkers. Tank here will siege, maybe just in time to stave a Stalker kind of blink into the main. We actually have 2 tanks on that ramp right now. 2 more factories on the way, guys. It's mech. It's mech all day, apparently. We played 1 game of non-mech, and we have just been playing mech ever since. Mech this, mech that, mech everything. What a ridiculous day this has turned into, as mech versus Protoss is becoming the norm. Our bunker helping to deflect the Stalkers. And difficult to blink onto that tank, because the 2 tanks high ground do cover the low ground tanks. So if you blink for that kill, you're going to take a lot of damage in the process. Tank sieging. Marine Cyclone coming about. The tank still setting up a little bit. Charging the +1 upgrade coming through. Now Stalker's going to go in after that over command. The Marines of the Cyclone still gather up together. The siege tank stepping over. SCVs are going to pull across as well. Yeah, those Stalkers actually taking a beating. Getting a couple more kills in already. Armory finishing up, refinery's on the way. Marine Cyclone continues to build through. +1 attack, Storm on the way up. Nexus building by. One single Stalker just going to take the watchtower for a couple of moments. Again, the +1 vehicle weapons. Backfield on the way in. Again, +1 and Blink, both building for now. Nexus halfway done. The simulators and the pylons coming up as well. Storm is moments from being completed. Vernal Pre-Igniter has started up as well. I mean, we just know where this mech army is going to. We've seen it from Clem already. MaxPax right now is a little low on the supply count, but I'm sure he's going to bound back nicely. His bug count can do a bit of work as well as he gets to that 4th base. I'm sure that'll be rectified. Get that probe count going a little bit higher. Obviously, he did take damage early in this game. Once again, it's not been a bad starting point from Clem. MaxPax smart not to go chasing after a pick up on that Zelt there, because we were ready to kind of make something happen. Units show up from the other side. Just Hellbats and Marines that get into reach of those Stalkers. And maybe it wasn't as scary as it first looked as though it could have been. Cyclones are going to chase Stalkers down. With the scan, we have the range. And we are going to get some good pickoffs there. The Zealots will go down on a follow-up. And Clem with some good picks right now. Storm is now available. Should help MaxPax a lot in some of these upcoming fights. There's our first. Good split, though. And the Cyclones don't instantly drop to it. The Hellbats can take a Storm as well. So do some of the Marines. We don't have endless Storms right now. Keep that in mind that we've already dropped 3 of them. So we have a few left over, but we are running out. We're using them pretty freely. MaxPax not afraid to kind of put those to use. The tanks are going to show up. Never going to get a chance to siege as the Stalkers kind of came forward. The Stalkers being forward, though, and once against those Hellbats that seem to be doing some mega damage. Tanks, again, still just never siege, just fighting all the way through. The Archon will go down. Both the Archons will go down that the High Templar morphed into. And Clem was thinking about getting to that right side to hit that Nexus. Will not be able to, though. Clem will want to try and get a 4th base behind us. He moves up the high ground. There's not a lot of units right now. Gets the High Templar that just warped in. That's an insta-kill. More Zealots coming up as well as we look for control in this left side base. And this does seem to be where we're hitting. The Nexus on the right side is under fire from the Hellbats that we talked about. And just a little bit of a split here of units. Some of them trying to fight off the Stalkers. The rest going after the Nexus still. The High Templar in the background is going to end up dying here. Gets one more Storm. Just kill a Cyclone or 2 with it. But I mean, you can see the probe count just going down as the Hellbats have their way on this mineral line. The few Cyclones as well. And Clem is up 128 to 86 supply. The Hellbat drop is available into the natural now. Just some additional damage, and these Hellbats are roasting and toasting. And it's a sunny day to be a probe. It's warm weather outside. Unfortunately, probes do not have anti-burn built into them, so they aren't dying. As again, we get aggressive here as MaxPax trying to chase this army a little bit, but I only see this backfiring. Again, look at it. Honestly, the Hellbats are surprising me. They're doing so much. All right. What happens if we build Colossus? Do we think Colossus... Because to me, a lot of the issues we're having are the Hellbats. What if we have Colossus that can just kite the Hellbats from range? Is that maybe, possibly, something we go into? Like, Colossus is obviously not on the track. Does this mean that I can too justifiably play mech versus Protoss, or is this just a case of Clem has a really perfect way to control play mech that works for his style? I'm willing to bet you would probably have an even easier time making mech work versus Protoss at your level. Because for 90% of people in the chat or more, realistically, it doesn't matter what style you play. If you just macro well, you will probably win games whatever you try and play with. You know? Generally. I honestly think mech control is, it's not easy, but I actually think it's going to be easier than trying to play Bio versus Protoss. I mean, if you hit stand in a bad storm, you don't instantly lose all your units with mech like you do versus, you know, with like you do with the Bio, right? So you can take your mass entry build to the ladder, yeah. Macro well enough with it, you good. I mean, there are some extremes that maybe goes a bit far in that idea, but you guys are smart enough to know what I mean, I'm sure. All watching StarCraft. Have some amount of brain cells inside of us. We've managed to find StarCraft, you know, and enjoy it. Probably nibbling at the SCV. Let's just see the engineering bay block onto the natural. Nexus coming down, Cybercore coming up. As the orbital command builds through the factory and engineering bay, building the reactor on the way by. A probe just steps into the Nexus there and still cancel on the engineering bay for the moment. Adept just gonna move about for a couple moments, settling down for a little bit here. Well, Marines moving over, Cyclone on the way through. Marines gonna get there. The Adept gonna take some damage. We'll be seeing that pushed away to the side for a couple of moments. Just taking a couple of seconds here to settle down. Marines and the Cyclone going to come pushing over. Starboard on the way through. And you see the Marines with the Cyclone actually can be pretty powerful. And the Cyclone should be able to stay locked onto that Stalker. We have the vision range for it. Oh, the battery saves it. Wow. Obviously, the third base location is over there, so that works out. We are going to turn around onto the Adept. I mean, the problem is MaxPax has to kind of step over here. Otherwise, you can just walk into the main base as Clem. And you kind of want to avoid that. Sentry pops its Guardian Shield. Cyclone will not stay locked on, and these Marines will try and pull back. The thing is with chasing the Marines, the Cyclone adds a lot to this. The Cyclone makes it not quite so simple chasing these Marines down. As you're kind of seeing now, a second Cyclone shows up, Stalker goes down, Sentry goes down, and Clem getting some value in these early stages at the moment of game number 3. Looking for a lead in this lower bracket final. The Cyclones, the Marines coming back through, getting a few more shots off. As we gather ourselves together. Blink finishing soon. Medevac tank Marines in production. The Cyclones will lock onto the Stalkers here. One Stalker going down, the other will return fire. The Cyclones and Marines together going to try and push up. We've run out of battery energy. It's one more Stalker kill, and the Cyclones are going to get away with it, aren't they? Look at them go, and one more lock on even. Okay, Blink's finishing in 10 seconds. We need to kill these Stalkers right now, or we're in trouble. Don't tell me it's going to happen. Oh my god! It was so sick from Clem. The Cyclone micro was very good. He lost one right at the end there, but come on, he did so well. And now a Cyclone lock on and a Siege Tank to get another Stalker kill. That Cyclone goes down too, but man, beautiful stuff. As Clem does work in the early stages of the game. 3 Stalkers on the map currently for MaxPax does not feel great. Warps in a couple extra. Resources lost is favorable to Clem. It's not super out of reach. It's only 400 difference. It's kind of wild. Like, that macro was nuts from Clem. He got so much value from those 2 Cyclones. And Clem adds a 3rd CC. Cloaking coming up for the Banshees. And we'll see what his next step is. Obviously, killing a bunch of these Stalkers does limit the amount of Stalkers you can arrive with and harass with blink-wise. So, and obviously losing the Cyclones is damage output from Clem loss, but it does mean, you know, if you're reliant on tanks, as long as we haven't lost tanks here, I think this means the Stalkers will struggle to do too much else right now. Command Center in the main base will be finishing soon. The Observer Chrono boosting out of the Robo facility. Charge is still coming online. Coming up to being about halfway there. Another factory will place. 3 games in a row in this series that Clem will play mech. He's had a good start. I mean, that game 1 was a good start from Clem. Played mech and lost it in a long, drawn-out back-and-forth affair. So do not just presume that this this lead at the start is going to be golden for Clem all the way through. It's a good start, but that's all it is for the moment. Stalkers gathering, Banshee cloaking coming online. Prism Chrono boosting off the Robo facility. Stalker Sentry Zealot stepping through. Just going to be having the mag field coming about again. Banshee and the Cyclone coming up as well. So it's going to get that through. The Armory will be on the way. The Engineering Bay coming about. +1 on the way through as well. Templar Archives will be finishing soon. A couple of Banshees around the top. Also coming down, the Medevac in trouble. Actually getting a little caught there as Clem's trying to push into his third base location. They'll siege up one tank, a couple of Zealots trying to challenge on in. Not really in good enough numbers to be that terrifying, and there's the Banshees, and there's no answer to them in position. Needs to actually target fire properly with them. Right now, they're not doing anywhere near the damage they should be. Still missing the Observer. It's showing up in a moment, man. This is so much missed opportunity. This is what, 7 probes? This feels like it should have been so much more. The Orbital here on fire, as Clem has to pull SCVs in for the repair for a moment. May actually need to get the SCVs back to repairing. Tank steps forward. A couple Cyclones coming through. The Orbital Command! It is not going to go down. The SCVs will save it in the last second. It was so close to being doomed. Zealots in the main base. At least we'll see MaxPax continuing, but we almost had a GG mo and lose that third, and Clem's in major trouble now. This is very survivable. Obviously, the Banshee's going to come back in. They're going to look for damage to undo the damage that MaxPax is finding. Chaos ensuing once again. Clem's obviously super busy, so his micro's not being perfect with the Banshees. He gets a few more workers. We end up 58-60. Clem army supply lead, a similar position to what we've seen in previous games. What a save in that CC. Like I said, he left a couple SCVs repaired, and I was like, I actually think we really need more, and that was very true. Tanks getting jumped on instantly. 2 tanks die so fast. Banshees will show up here for a bit of defense as well. Cyclones locking on. Stalkers only, not going to be ideal. Getting chased down. Even Hellions have something to say. Splashing through and actually going to chase. Looking for more. Prism into the corner of the main base. Beautiful position, and may actually get more out of this, although the Stalkers are still being hunted down. Oh my goodness. That's actually crazy. Stalkers are dying back at home. The Prism is set up, like I say, waiting for a warping opportunity. We don't have money yet, though. Clem does have a couple units in the main. 2 Cyclones, 2 Hellions poised to deal with the warpins in the next few moments as we have the Prism actually getting found. That will not go anywhere. That is Clem pushing back to clean up there. What a save on that command center. If that third base falls, this is such a different game. Clem is... I mean, if Clem has to rebuild a third before he continues to mine off of it, like, it just puts your position into such a weak spot in comparison to what you're playing right now. It just takes away so much, and then you really are probably even pushing across the map, looking to be forced into a fight, and having to force a fight against a Protoss who can play defensively, it's not fun, right? At the end of the day, it is just not fun. A lot of Cyclones this game. We have seen some of these games be very tank-focused early. Obviously, he lost some tanks this game. We've seen him go into a lot more tanks than this, but this is just very heavy on the Cyclone build. There's a lot of Stalkers, and we're going to scan looking for the Observer. We're not going to risk it. High Templar there as well. Just going to peel away to the side. These are not super speedy Banshees. Oh, the Observer comes in from the bottom. I think Clem only stuck around here because he had the scan, so he was like, I don't see the Observer arriving. But because it comes from the bottom side, it means he actually doesn't see it coming. So he does lose one Banshee. The other took a big shot, but did live just about in the end. That's one vehicle weapons coming online. A couple of these units trying to get by on that right side will not succeed. As Clem pulls back down to the bottom looking for a 4th base. Looks like the Prism just died over here, I believe. Again, good shutdown on the Hellions. You saw how deadly and devastating they can be when they turn up the heat in those mineral lines. Keeping those away from your mineral lines in the first place, preemptive measures, is absolutely a route to success. But what about over here? This is a lot of Hellions. MaxPax out of position. Hellions will move into Hellbat's command center in trouble. High Templars are showing up. Clem might just look for the kill on the base and get the hell out of here. Banshees get stormed to death. As, ooh, Clem is looking for more. He starts to engage into the army a little bit. Again, using the Cyclones in their range just to get what is essentially free damage if MaxPax can't return fire. Another storm coming down. The Cyclones taking hits once again. Stalkers around the bottom side looking to cut off a retreat of the Cyclones and everything else. And we will actually succeed on that blink in. How much goes down, though, for MaxPax? Because obviously he just blinked into Cyclone lock-ons. There's not a lot of pulling back you can do there, but he's continuing to chase. And Clem's army will be hunted right now. Again, a few more lock-ons, just trying to find as much as possible. Clem has reinforcements, but they are going to need to come and join up. He gets a few of those units away. I think that's important. I think if he loses everything there, this could actually get pretty tricksy for him, but that is not the case. couple Hellions and the Cyclones together will gather back up. A couple of Zealots still taking some shots. Stalker's wanting to push through. A couple of shots coming about. We are going to be seeing the units trying to push up this ramp. In we go. Cyclone's trying to fire. One more Storm coming down. Are we going to keep on trying to push for this? Yes, we are. Cyclone's going to be forced to split away once again. Still just got that Immortal taking a few extra shots of damage. Clem's supply is hurting a little bit, though, and when the supplies get this close, it has oftentimes meant trouble for Clem in the previous games. The Warbins of the Protoss arrive so quickly. Clem's planetary force is a big factor here. SCVs need to start repairing this a little bit more seriously, I think, guys, as we are going to be seeing the repair is not going to be enough. Clem needed to get those SCVs there a little bit sooner, and he will not do it. MaxPax is going to take the game number 3 as Clem loses his 4th base. In the bottom left, the red Protoss player, up 2-1, a map away from the grand finals, is MaxPax. His opponent in the top right is going to be the blue Protoss player, Clem, for the PvP. Okay, I'm going to be missing negative. He's going to get destroyed. I want to be proven wrong. I don't think he beats MaxPax PvP. I don't think there's the slightest chance. You know, there's a lot of times where I feel like the off-race play is like, oh my god, and here we go. This actually does not excite me at all. I think this is basically a forfeit. And I say that so I can only be surprised if Clem can make this competitive. Let's see. Okay, wait. Down at the front, as we get settled in, a couple of assimilators will come through. Just going to have ourselves the builds being picked here. Going to be double gate versus double gate. Maybe PvP is MaxPax's weakness. Yes, the matchup that MaxPax has not only been renowned for years, but has recently expanded his horizons in and become a much more solid player all around in because he's been comfortable enough to actually step away from just one gate expanding. Clem's throwing down the pylon. It's proxy time right from the get-go here as we get into game number 4 of this best of 5. Lower bracket final. Winner of this plays Classic in the grand finals. Sentry and Stalker building up here on these gateways. We get those underway. Stargate and a couple of Adepts coming up as well. And it's just going to be seeing MaxPax already kind of playing into a very comfortable position, right? Stargate before expand, very safe. Pylon from Clem is just going to be a fake out. He does not put anything on it. So if MaxPax is in the main base, he sees a lack of a pylon and he gets afraid about a proxy straight away. Clem's going to throw a Stargate down of his own. So Stargate versus Stargate is going to be, obviously, a lot of the time Phoenix versus Phoenix, but it doesn't have to be, because obviously if you don't know about it on one side and you don't start building Phoenix, you can go Oracles first. I would say Phoenix versus Phoenix is one of MaxPax's specialities. He was one of the players that really pushed the limits of Phoenix versus Phoenix, figuring out how the micro wars work there to almost reliably win that kind of composition warfare. I think if this goes Phoenix versus Phoenix, then I get worried for Clem, but he should build a Phoenix here. Because in this case, a Phoenix is a much better scenario for him than an Oracle, because he could shut down MaxPax's Oracle, have a 2-3 Phoenix lead, and force MaxPax into Blink, perhaps. So I do like the Phoenix here from Clem. I think that is going to be the right call for the early stages. And MaxPax is going to go Oracle number 2 as well. Oracle heads to the upper right-hand side. You're going to be seeing it heading in. And it's going to activate for one probe already. Stalker Sentry, and the Oracle gets a good couple of shots off on the gateway units there. That can help stop the recall possibility. We're going to see the Stalker and the Adept showing up on the other side. The Phoenix will get the Oracle, does not recall away. That's going to be a good shutdown for Clem immediately, so I guess the Phoenix to lift up the Adept as well. But 2 Adepts do get into the main base. Low HP, we've got another Phoenix. That's huge, because that stops the warpins. Sorry, that stops the one-shot, so the battery will then be able to stop these Adepts from getting any kills. Good defense from Clem. Shuts it down. An Oracle down. A couple of Adepts down. Starts the Twilight Council. We'll trail there. We'll have the Phoenix lead, like I say. So this is the benefit that Clem gets from this. You get 2 to 3 Phoenix. They're going to be able to harass a little bit. They're going to keep control of the map. The one thing you got to be careful of is the other Oracle, but he does have a Stasis Ward in the main, and he does have, sorry, not Stasis Ward, a Shield Battery in the main that protects you there, so he only really has to be careful of the Oracle on the natural. It will not be able to do much in the main apart from Stasis Warding. Twilight Council finishing soon. Stalkers will step up to the high ground. The probes will pull away from the natural. Adepts are going to be back in, and there's the Oracle at the same time. The probes are already pulling into the main mineral line, but we've got to deal with the Adepts as well. And they will start comboing up, but at the same time, Clem is on the natural of MaxPax, so maybe there's some opportunity there. As the Phoenix will be here too, going to force the recall. It's going to be Stalkers that come back. We force fill the ramp, we lift up one Stalker. Battery gets a recharge. Clem does have the damage to kill this through the battery, but it takes a very long time. Probes are pulling in. Clem's lost a bunch of workers. Felt like he probably needed to get a few workers himself there as he has to step back. That battery will be low energy if he wants to go again, but I wonder if there's just too many units there now. It's not like Clem has a nearby warp-in available. Phoenix can threaten the main base, get a few probes, maybe start drawing back into the eco game a little bit. Because obviously right now he's trailing. You get a few workers here. It helps. That's all the Phoenix energy for now, though. The Oracle's still going to town on the other side, so it's still a 5-worker lead for MaxPax in this game number 4. As MaxPax seems to be slipping closer to the Grand Finals against Classic, and we may have a PvP showdown for our first Protoss WardiTV Championship champion since 2021. Blink Chrono boosting on both sides. MaxPax is going to be a little bit close towards that. Again, the worker count is slightly in his favor. Stalkers will get through. The probe gets picked off already. He's going to take that down and now diving onto the pylon in the center. We'll see our Stalkers coming to the bottom left-hand side. MaxPax just pulling away and actually going to play defensively here. This Oracle, man, has just done work. It's a 7-kill Oracle. Will go down now. A few more probes. A little bit more distraction. MaxPax lost a couple workers as well, but overall, he's 6 workers ahead coming out of this. And heading to the Blink phase of the game, he'll be on Blink sooner. He's got a better economy. Robo coming up earlier as well. It keeps him very safe in case of a Dark Shrine play from his opponent. It does bring that option to play. Clem adds 2 more gateways. So what gateway count are we going to in total here? 4 to 4. So it's going to be pretty even. If Clem keeps adding gateways rather than throwing down a 3rd base, obviously that aggression is something we can really look toward. But there's no sign that that's going to be the case now. 4 gates is fairly reasonable. The biggest difference currently is the Robo. Obviously, cutting that as corner a little bit as Clem can be nice. MaxPax can also use it as a, crank out some Immortals defensively. That also works. But it does give Clem the opportunity to just kind of mass Stalkers a little bit and maybe take a numbers advantage into a fight across the map. That's what he's going to try and do here. Remember, there's no nearby warp-in because he doesn't even have really a pylon nearby, so as he attacks in here, he needs to just make numbers work right away. He's going to have the Guardian Shield to help out. He will be able to threaten with the Phoenix. Looking for a cancel on the Nexus. MaxPax blink back super defensively. MaxPax gives this Nexus up. He feels like Clem is committing to the aggression right here, which it's kind of true. So he's just not going to risk it. He's not going to let this base continue through. He's not going to try and fight out in the open. And Clem successfully knocks down base 3. Is about to throw down a base of his own. And that is going to equalize out the economy timings a bit. 42 workers each. And the army supply actually favoring Clem. Again, that Robo and Observer investment, something which you're not really benefiting from too much right now as MaxPax. You're going to see the Protoss Stalkers trading out for a few moments. Going back and forth. Clem gets a few Stalkers from the top side. They're actually kind of big because they can jump on the low HP Stalkers of MaxPax. Does Clem want to keep on chasing in? He will blink forward, and he is going to get a few more shots off. MaxPax has to step away. Phoenix on the other side is going to try. Oh, he lifted too many. We can't lift two workers at once because you don't have the damage to get through the battery. Then loses a Phoenix because of it, but the blink in means that Clem has the opening to kill the 3rd base. See, this is why I called Clem out at the start, because it means I'm very genuinely excited anytime anything goes well for him. I set my expectations low in case it's a bop, and I get very excited when it's not, because Clem right now is controlling the game against MaxPax a little. Dark Shrine on the way up from MaxPax, though. That's going to be a major tool, because you're going to see those couple of Adepts put some work in. Wow, MaxPax chasing hard. It's going to get turned on a little bit, but the Immortal makes it so difficult for Clem to justify turning and fighting. Clem still has the disadvantage of no Robo facility, right? So The Immortal is going to be better. The Robo coming up now from Clem, and then you're going to be behind on the Dark Shrine. So that's kind of a tech choice behind at any point is kind of the situation for Clem. And that's the one thing that MaxPax will retain in his favor. And obviously DTs have huge potential to deal damage. So the Dark Templar are a very threatening unit to add into play. Clem obviously has the Robo facility coming up, but even if with observers, you still have to be in the right place. Clem hits here. I don't think that fight's going to be it. Hitting the Immortal for a while, taking Stalker hits in return. One Stalker going down. More DTs will build up. The Forge and the Nexus coming online. More probes being built as well. Obs will sit out the front. There's the Obs over to the side there. Actually, MaxPax's going to get a push up towards Clem's third base. Clem's going to step across to deal with this. He's a bit down on army supply here. Does not have the Immortal either. This Clem is going to have DTs in the natural. They're going to go straight onto the Robobaps. Nope, just going to split into the mineral lines. He's losing the fight at the front, and now he's losing a lot of workers in the back. MaxPax, like I say, that tech advantage. First, he got the Robo down ahead from his early game lead, and then it turned into as Clem builds the Robo, he builds the Dark Shrine, and now the DT is obviously doing mega damage. Clem trying to chase. He knows he needs to chase this army down because the DT damage is huge, and he's actually going to do fairly well at it, just he's down 13 workers to follow this up, which means that his reinforcements are going to be much less than what MaxPax has. And that's why I say why he's chasing so heavily right now, because he feels the need to do some serious work. His main base still not even mining as those DTs do get dealt with. MaxPax will sit. Immortal and the Stalker on the way up. Extra Stalkers moving back down to the south side. Again, Immortal, Adepts building through, the Stalker coming through there, a couple of gateways being added on. Taking a few more moments. Stalker's going to step down the bottom. Couple probes going down. 2-3 workers going down right away. The Adepts going to get picked away at. But it's more probes lost from Clem. Adepts are very expendable when you're keeping your opponent's economy down. Clem's going to try and get to a Forge and get some upgrades. You see MaxPax making the switch into A+1 of his own. But also the charge. He's going to have Zealots on his side very, very shortly here. Stalker's coming back across, Obs going down. Nexus drops into the front, just going to get that put into place. Charge on the +1, continuing through. A few Stalkers coming back up as well. And as we take position, charge. We'll finish shortly. Nexus still building by. Stalkers will fire. A couple shots going through. Going to go back and forth. Let's just take a couple of moments. The charge, the armor, the attack need to come by for the moment. A few Stalkers going to go fighting over for a little bit. Fourth base of MaxPax, fourth base of Clem. We are still in this game then as Clem, but the numbers are against him. And again, that charge as well. And just having Zealots in the fight should make these fights much more amenable to MaxPax than they're going to make them for Clem. Here we go. As Clem just tries to get into position here. Again, he had to recover from all of those worker losses to the DTs. That's really what's caused this kind of discrepancy in the army setups, is that MaxPax has had the freedom and created the freedom to kind of set up into the future army. Clem very much so has not had much of a chance but to keep on building Stalkers. The upgrades even until the +1 armor finishes from MaxPax. Is Clem going to get the Immortal, but he can see the army supply dripping down. Not ideal just yet. Zealot Stalker going to loop around the red side. Pylon going to get taken out. The Nexus in some trouble. Stalker still fighting. Sentry goes down. Clem, can he find a defense here with the Blink Stalker micro? He's working through the Zealots effectively for the moment. Is it going to be enough? Supplies are staying very similar. Clem is honestly taking a very good fight so far. Warpins into this fight as well. Clem's starting to get some Zealots of his own. His own charge is not far from being done, and Clem is going to turn MaxPax's army away from the fourth base. He will push this back down the right-hand side. Another Zealot going down as Clem playing against the odds at the moment, but he's going to take a supply lead after, honestly, he was in a lot of trouble when those DTs hit, and now he's taken a few good fights in a row to the point where he is pushing MaxPax not just away, he's pushed him across the map. And ooh, MaxPax darts down to the south, but Clem dives left. I thought Clem might have made a play on that base, and that MaxPax was going to have picked the wrong base to fall back to. In the end, doesn't happen, and we are going to reposition. Clem going to go to the right side now instead. There's a prism on the way up the right. It'd be nice if he could catch it, but I don't think he has any vision to see it coming in. Obviously, a prism into the main base can be extremely frustrating for him, because DTs are still an option to start harassing. And if that warping comes straight in there, that can absolutely be an issue. So that's something that Clem is going to have to work on. There is the prism warping in. Just one DT into the main. Again, an issue. You have to... I mean, we have a cannon though, right? Oh, he just built the forge there. Sorry, I thought he had the cannon there when I saw the forge there, but yeah, it's just the forge. No cannon, so a few probes going down again for Clem, whose economy taking hits. MaxPax recalls to this left side. A few Stalkers recall right away there. We are going to be seeing these Stalkers fighting. A few probes just walking past. This is awkward because MaxPax only recalled a portion of his army, so Clem can take a very good fight initially. Probes must be pulled. MaxPax is losing 14 workers. DT, what? Who cares? The Immortal on the right side might be something Clem can just blink onto and get rid of. It's going to move command right into this Stalker force. Now we see a force field of Q coming down because Clem has already blinked. MaxPax blinked to chase this down. +2 attack for Clem feels better than the 1-1 upgrades of his opponent. The Prism still lurking on the other side of the map. Clem is on a 20-worker lead. Army supply in his favor. Stalker stepping over. The Zealot Stalker going to be right there. Clem has to give this up for a second, maybe. Steer with a couple of units in front. Some of his Stalkers are hurt. There's much healthier Stalkers from MaxPax than there are for Clem. MaxPax will finish the +2 attack, making an armor upgrade lead for himself right now in this situation. Prism takes a few more shots over to the side. Stalkers keep on gathering. We do see the additional Zealots. The Stalkers still building through. Man, Clem has honestly survived through so many miserable moments of this game. It's actually been pretty ridiculous. Income advantage was MaxPax's until 2 or 3 minutes ago. Army size has not always been MaxPax's, but I feel like there's been multiple times where his army quality has been significantly better than Clem's. Clem has taken so many better fights than MaxPax. And now jumping onto this left side 5th base. Clem has a massive army on the right side. He's just going to let these Zealots do as much as he can. Does he probably still has recall to try and get away with, perhaps? He's just going to try and run it out instead. I mean, everything from MaxPax is on the left, so the bottom side base is in a ton of trouble. Clem is happy to keep this army distracted for long enough, as should have probably done with cleaning up that Zealot, as DT going to try and make a play for the cannon, and it will go down to potential harassment from MaxPax coming through to turn this around. He does lose this bottom side base. The Zealots in the main base as well. Clem has to come and handle this. A couple of Zealots warping in defensively. Well, Clem's just lost a ton of work as the DTs and the counterattacks in general from MaxPax once again doing work. But now MaxPax starting to lose his natural. Clem is going to kill this Nexus, blink into the main, or blink out apparently. Oh god, force field coming down. Clem's going to lose a lot of Stalkers here. Does he have a true getaway available to him? A couple of Zealots are going to try and do what they can up in the main base as well. The Stalkers pulling back out to the right side. Continue to escape out of this at the moment. Zealot Stalker still gathering up. If he deals with all of this harassment, if he shuts this down, Clem has a worker lead. A couple more Zealots, it's going to be good. We are going to defend for now. Clem's going to re-engage into the center. Army supplies are probably the closest they've been in a while. Clem has a good fight onto the Zealots, though, and I think he just has more Stalkers, which is really going and working wonders. He might need to pull back, though, as he runs out of Zealots. He wants to obviously not let these Stalkers be taking hits. Needs a few Zealots of his own to help out. Good blink micro still. The individual Stalkers just getting brought back every single time. The Zealots will fall, and MaxPax's army supply is not there once again. Clem chasing, might even blink in after the Stalkers. It'd be dangerous if those Zealot reinforcements arriving, though. There are a few, but maybe just not enough. We blink, we chase, and Clem wants to take this army down as the Stalkers keep on punching forward. Stalkers will keep on dropping. Stalker after Stalker going down at the moment, and we just chase, chase, chase. A few Zealots here may not be good enough in numbers just to actually contest this at all. Of course, Clem is a mile away from any of his own reinforcements showing up. You see a few more probes building. Clem is still on that worker lead. And he will get a couple more Zealots going too, doubling the army supply right now of MaxPax. This game has been utterly ridiculous. Clem has been... This is one I'm going to have to look back over because I'm absolutely convinced Clem was in so much trouble. Stalkers gather, observers overhead. The pylon takes a nibble. Now, I think at this point Clem is far enough ahead that it's looking solid because MaxPax also isn't really rich enough to just build DTs and the counterattacks constantly anymore. That's what he was kind of relying on a little bit previously, but now I don't think that's really an option for him either. Zealots reconvene. Stalkers gathering up. Zealots setting up through the center. The probe still building. A couple of Zealots just going to fight through on the top side. The Stalker's going to step in. The cannon is going to go down. I mean, it's nice because obviously you've still got DTs as a threat, so it forces Clem into rebuilding it. Clem loses a few workers, but again, we're beyond the point where a couple of workers are going to change things. That sentry full of energy going down, intercepted by a couple of Zealots already. Our Stalkers will step up. A couple of Zealots in the front. I mean, the numbers just aren't fair anymore. 106 to 44 army supply. Clem stepping forward, and he is going to come through. A couple of Zealots getting jumped on. Stalkers getting jumped on. GG is called, and Clem will PvP his way to tie up this series. And what a ridiculous game as well. At multiple points, but is able to draw it back in PvP against MaxPax, who's the king of PvP. And yet when he had multiple leads in TvP earlier today, albeit with mech, it just didn't even look close to that points. Like, it's just rough, no? It's rough to accept that, you know, our matchup is so down the drain that this is genuinely the better approach for top tier Terrans. It's crazy. It's Pylon, and it's back to PvT apparently. As in the bottom right-hand side, the red Protoss player is MaxPax. In the top left, Clem was playing a one-map Protoss wonder, and has tied it up, and is now 2-2 in the top left. I feel like Clem's like, you know what if I just try and play the non-mech style? I haven't actually done that against MaxPax yet today. Crazy. We had some ridiculous use today. Some of the playoff days were not so great, honestly, but today's games have been absolutely bonkers thus far. As Clem and MaxPax get into it here in Game 5. Why would he go back to Terran? Probably because he genuinely was not in a good position in a lot of that game. Probably because MaxPax probably made some mistakes of his own, and if he didn't make those, Clem wasn't going to be able to capitalize and get back in it. And I don't think Clem wants to run that same risk. I think Clem probably looks at this and says, you know what, I was in a bit of trouble, let's be realistic. Like, this wasn't a smooth game where he played great every single point. Like, he got into trouble. He put himself in trouble a few times over, and he was able to pull it back in certain ways, but it was not a comfortable win by any stretch. It's a feels-good win, because winning when you're down feels good, but it doesn't make you feel comfortable about doing it again, you know? Cracked on the barracks. Factory coming through. Command center is going to build in the main base, so we get that up and online. We do have the Adept going to chase down the Reaper for a couple of moments. What does Clem want to do? Tech lab on the factory starport building. I mean, he's obviously, like I say, he's mech'd a few times over today. Are we going to continue that vibe? Or is he going to try? Like I say, he's not played mech against MaxPax. He did not need to play mech against MaxPax in the upper bracket semis, where he won 3-1. Here we're going to fly a couple of pros. We'll take some shots. Going to throw some grenades down. The gateway coming down as well. Got Cyclone Marines in the medevac building through at the moment as our command center will finish on the high ground. The Adept should be able to get out of trouble here. Marines will not be speedy enough to play the catch. However, the Reaper is hunting. The Reaper would love to get the Adept kill, obviously, but he's going to go to the Watchtower instead. Might actually still find the Adept, but it will regen shields by then. It's actually very smart from MaxPax too. He puts it back, but he doesn't reveal it on the tower for a few moments, just to just in case that Reaper's there to spot it. It gives you a little bit more time to get preparations made. Each tank will build the Viking on the way. Command center building on the natural. Again, Marine tank Viking building up. Robo facility and gateways coming through. The Blink still building. The Adept shades across into the natural here. As we are going to see the Adept firing onto that orbital command. So a little bit of damage being done. A couple of depots will take some nibbles up here. The SCV gets stuck on the corner. Stalkers hitting the Reaper. Going to get a kill. And that tank going to siege up as well. Uh-oh. Stalkers in a little bit of trouble. Fun push from Clem getting here early. Blink not ready just yet. That pylon is in trouble. The battery goes down. We're actually going to get rid of the pylon here. That powers the gateway at the front. Next pylon will be the one that is powering the robo facility. If we can survive that long through this, the tank going to not go after the Stalkers. Retargets onto the probes. He retargeted that tank twice. He saw the opportunity to kill Stalkers, realized the probes were stacked and away from the Marines, went back onto the probes, clearing the probes way more quickly, allowing the rest of these units to stick around that little bit longer as well. Blink is seconds away from finishing. How much can Clem do here? He's already killed 10 workers. More Stalkers going down. We're going to have Blink and 1 Stalker on the map. Units are just into the main base. I mean, there's an Immortal on the low ground. A couple of Marines need to try and pop that Immortal's barrier realistically. Would be great. Probes are going to pull in again, but this is horrible for MaxPax, whose economy is already down the drain. 18 workers lost. Stalkers Blink for the Cyclone. And Clem still has the medevac to evacuate with if he wants to. Viking just going to go after probes. He's going to boost the medevac away. It's low, though, so he's just going to save the medevac. I'll save the Viking one more time. Medevac will go down. We try and target down a Stalker, but that will be it. But, man, the damage is truly done. 20 probes lost early. Clem takes control early. And it's not just 20 probes. Look at this unit lost tab. 8 Stalkers. You're playing Blink, and you've got 4 Stalkers on the map at 6 minutes. It's a horrible place for MaxPax. What can he do here? He doesn't manage to catch many of Clem's units returning home. He needs to be careful because he's walking into tank range as well. He did get that one Immortal out. He's way too poor to build another Immortal. He's poor in general because of the worker damage. It wasn't just workers lost. There was a ton of time where probes were pulled off of mineral lines early as well. His army pulls back over. Tank Marines gathering up. Reactor Engineering Bay on the way through. As we do see the Stimpack building, the Marines joining, Stalkers and Immortal gathering together. Factory drops the Tech Lab. Stimpack, Combat Shield, +1, all coming through for the moment. Just going to be seeing the Hallucination Planet now. Marine Tank gathering a couple of Vikings. Will lift back up into the skies as well. Hallucination stepping up. Marines in position. I mean, what do you do as MaxPax to recover from this? The problem is you can't even, well, apparently you're going to take a fight into the natural. The Vikings will land, the tanks get knocked down, but the Immortal will die, the Stalkers are in trouble. Oh, that's not good. You got rid of the tanks, but the Marines are good enough on the follow-up, and MaxPax knows it. He just types out GG. What a turnaround in this series as Clem doesn't stim a single time in the best of 5 against MaxPax and wins it 3-2.